All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Producer Josh just came out and there's a really bad story about Chuck Norris. And I don't want to say anything until I absolutely know. So, but he was hospitalized in medical emergency. And man, I don't know about you, but I grew up with Chuck Norris, Invasion USA. Was a movie in the chat where he fights Bruce Lee? Was that Enter the Dragon? I love Chuck Norris. I mean, he was, all the jokes about how tough Chuck Norris was and stuff. Man, he passed. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I know we all, have an expiration date, folks, but he was a real hero of mine growing up. And from what I heard, I never had the pleasure of meeting him. I heard he was an amazing guy. So some sad news on a Friday. Thanks, Josh. That's why we were a little late. I don't want to put something out there and it's not true. We try to do our best, but we're in kind of a time crunch. Folks, I got a lot to talk about today. Of course, again, I'm going to prove to you how everything that's going on behind the scenes is an op. There's an unbelievable tweet thread, I don't know if you saw it, that dissects exactly how this stuff works. So if any of you are under the illusion when you get bombarded with bots on Twitter that the real world has gone crazy, it hasn't. A subset of it has. And you're wondering why, hey, when I'm out in the real world, nobody ever talks about these people. I never hear anything like that, which is what I've told you. Now you're going to see why. You're going to see for sure you're on the right side of this. I promise you. Listen to your brother Dan here. Been in this business a long time. I'm going to get to that. And I've got really bad news for the doomers. Again, the nothing is happening crowd. Again, everything they said wasn't happening now is happening again. And they're going to move on to another thing that they think isn't happening. And when that happens, wash, rinse, repeat like the back of a shampoo bottle. It's exhausting, but it's up to us to keep people's momentum high. We're doing big things. Things are happening. Some people just want to lie to you about it because they're freaking doomers. That's it. Thanks for all the feedback on yesterday's show, too. It was an important one. I'll kind of cover some of that as well. Folks, losing weight's an absolute pain. Was it at Liberal Scum in the chat said before the show, I look too skinny. Do I look too skinny? Maybe I got to put on some weight. I don't know. I wanted to lose weight and my joints were killing me. So it's my favorite go-to product, Lean. Oh, sorry, other way. Everything's backwards. LEAN by Brickhouse Nutrition. I took it. Maybe I got too skinny on it. Who knows? That's probably not a problem for most of you. It's by Brickhouse Nutrition. It's a great product. Listen, those doughy areas, you have them sometimes. It doesn't have to be that way. I lost about 30 pounds by taking Lean. I've felt incredible ever since. Knees still a little busted up, but I don't want to go back. Doctors created Lean as a supplement, not an expensive prescription. It works like most of those GLP-1s, without the needles, though. The weight loss injections, they help by controlling blood sugar and curbing appetite, so you eat less. It's really not complicated how it works. That's what Lean was created to do. It replicates the benefits of these injections. Without needles, Lean supports healthy blood sugar, helps reduce spikes and crashes that drive snacking and cravings. That's what's probably killing your weight control. But Lean goes a step further and helps your body burn fat into energy instead of storing it. No prescriptions, no needles. If you've been thinking about losing weight, and let's go. I tried it, worked for me. Visit brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. It's a great company. Try out their creatine product too, Foundation. I swear by it. Take the mirror test with it. It's amazing. Again, brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use promo code Dan to get 20% off. brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Promo code Dan for 20% off. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Products not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. It's not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. Wow, you got out ahead of me there. You guys jumping on the bell. So, I tell you all the time that there is a coordinated op going on out there. Please, again, bookmark the show. Flag it already. We're only 5 minutes into the show, okay? Everybody right now is preparing for 2028. Everybody's going to, no, not everybody's going to run. But there are people who are going to run who have already made promises to other people in the influencer space, the consulting space, the polling space. So everybody right now is involved. There you go. Flags in the chat is involved right now. The people you suspect rightly so, are doing this because they're in on the grift, okay? So there's an op going on because they're afraid of whoever Donald Trump may endorse in 2028 because they have their own money train involved. Just think of all the primaries Donald Trump's been involved in, how vicious those got, right? Think of him without him there, what this is going to look like. So there's an effort right now to diminish Donald Trump's accomplishments so that they can't pass on kind of like the Reagan legacy to anyone else. You get what I'm talking about? Because that's the kind of transformation that happened. So there's this like effort. I know about it. Now you know about it. And it's a totally organized op. Everybody's flagging it in the chat to make sure you don't think Donald Trump is doing what he's doing in his administration. That's where the nothing is happening stuff comes from. It's all bullshit. So this happened yesterday. There's a tweet by Mark Caputo from Florida Politics. News, James Comey has been subpoenaed in the wide-ranging grand conspiracy case. What one? Guys, I thought nothing was... Justin, what case is that? That's not camp. There's a case? Justin's like, I guess there is. So this Jim Comey's been subpoenaed in the wide-ranging grand conspiracy case that everyone tells us isn't happening. Those who had investigated and prosecuted Trump from 2017 to 2024. More than 130 subpoenas have been issued by the Southern District of Florida. That's weird, man. Justin, how can they issue a subpoena without a case number? There's no case. Listen, I'm not going to go into too much detail on all this. I'm just telling you, like, it's all open source. You can read what I can read. But you don't find it odd that now the people who've told you that the case that they say isn't happening is actually happening? You'll get no apologies at all. Everything I've told you is true. Some people just prefer to be lied to, like lied to by Joe Kent. I'm not going to lie to you. I was honest with you. Just because you don't see things happening right away, not mean they weren't happening. Things in the judicial system take time. And by the way, you should be grateful for that. You don't want the judicial system rushing it if, God forbid, you're accused of a crime, correct? You want it to be deliberate and correct. Slow but right rather than fast but wrong. That's the way the system's designed. Again, I'm not expecting any, whatever. You get the point. Here's MSNBC covering it last night. Was this Nicole Wallace? We haven't done that for a while. I don't know. It's just a regular black shirt. I don't know if she approves or what. Maybe too small for her. I don't know. Maybe she likes it. I don't know. But here's Nicole Wallace last night at MSNBC talking about the case that isn't happening.
The former director of the FBI, Jim Comey, has reportedly been subpoenaed in that wide-ranging grand conspiracy case that they're trying to assemble against anyone who ever investigated and sought to prosecute Donald Trump.
All right. So whatever, guys. I assume that the case you said wasn't happening. Now it's happening. Now you move on to something else that isn't happening. And I mean, it didn't happen fast enough. Really? You would have done it faster from your behind your keyboard? Come on, man. Like, give me a freaking break. I'm so tired of the grift and the bullshit. I really am. It is exhausting listening to this bullshit all the time from people who are clearly positioning themselves for 2028. Bookmark the show. You will play this back when all of these people jump in and the same grifters online right now, you're looking at, they're all become part of the network. You're going to be like, man, I should have listened to him. He told us the truth. And it started yesterday as well with this just unbelievably ridiculous Joe Kent interview where I just dissected every single lie. He lied to you yesterday because he's now part of this grift. And they see the wedge issue as the Jews, and that's it. Whether you care about it or not doesn't matter. They see it as a wedge issue to cleave off a portion in 2028 and do this. Bookmark the show and remember it. So they run by, as I discussed yesterday, they're using a couple of things. And I don't want to redo yesterday's show, but I want to show you another example of how they're full of shit. The Doomer crowd runs by this gatekeeper theory, if you look it up, that Donald Trump, because they don't want to attack Donald Trump because they want to take his MAGA coalition. I said it yesterday. But in order to take it, they also have to diminish what his administration's doing. So they attack every member around him, his advisors, his cabinet, everything. It's actually pretty clever. And they call it this gatekeeper theory, that Donald Trump is being deceived. You know, like, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fans. Are you Lord of the Rings fans? Are you guys? You know when that the king is by the worm guy, is they take it over. That's what they think. Like Donald Trump is sitting on the throne with the yeah, do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not a huge fan. I should be. Great books. I read The Hobbit and, whatever, ninth grade. But the movies, they're fine. But that's who they think Donald Trump is. Now, if that sounds stupid to you, that this guy just keeps getting lucky on all these things, right? Donald Trump just keeps getting lucky. The economy's growing, inflation's under control, takes out the Iranian leadership, arrests Maduro in clean surgical military operations. He's just lucky all the time. Then again, I'm sorry, I think you're an idiot. It's just, and he's won the presidency twice, probably 3 times, because he's just lucky. I mean, who else is that lucky? You know how many millionaires have run for president and gotten smoked? There are millionaires who run for governor and get smoked. He's just lucky. The gatekeepers are keeping everything from him. Is Ratcliffe a gatekeeper too? The CIA director? He's been loyal to President Trump forever. Like, he's lying to Donald Trump. Why do I bring up Ratcliffe? Because Ratcliffe's up on the Hill yesterday in context of this Joe Kent interview. Hey, Iran's not an imminent threat. I knew as the NCTC guy. You didn't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what body of intelligence you read. This is not what I read at all. Here's Ratcliffe up on the Hill with a Democrat congressman, no less. Just the Democrat congressman. And answering just honest questions. You think he's on the record here lying? Like, oh, you're another gatekeeper too. You're just full of shit if you think that. Check this out.
Is the Iranian regime committed to America's destruction, in your opinion?
Yes.
Does the Iranian regime have American blood on their hands since its founding in 1979?
Yes.
Has Iran plotted assassination attempts against Americans on American soil?
Yes.
Was Iran developing a nuclear weapon prior to our military action last June? And did Iran remain committed to developing a nuclear weapon in the lead up to this conflict?
Yes. So I want to clarify on that because there's been much talk about a fatwa against the development of a nuclear weapon.
Can you come back to that 1 second? Let me finish
yeah,
these.
you bet.
Okay. If left unchecked, do you think Iran would have the ability to develop missiles capable of reaching the United States?
Yes.
Did Israel force the U.S.'s hand and make us take action, as some have claimed?
No.
Director Gabbard, do you agree with the CIA director's assessment on that last question in
Yes.
particular?
Even Tulsi's like, yes, I agree. You think Ratcliffe is part of this like gatekeeping crew? It just doesn't make any sense. So that is an op. Listen to me. It's an op. I promise you. There is nothing genuine or authentic. No one actually believes that. No one. Some of the people promoting it, I actually helped these people out because I felt bad for some of them. And now I regret every second of it. I helped a lot of them out. We had the biggest platform in the world between my TV show, radio, and the podcast and social. And we helped a lot of these people out. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. I had a lot of, I don't want to sound like self-praise things, but I had a soft spot for a lot of these guys who I felt were abused by the system. And then they turned out to be not low character, but just no character individuals. Why don't I mention by name? Because they haven't earned the right to be mentioned by name. They haven't. But they're pieces of garbage. They're part of this op. Some of them openly advertise being part of an op to take down MAGA. What's with the hidden knowledge thing, too? Like they all have there's this whole group of people out there swearing like, I've got this stuff, the data points. I got the data points I'm going to bring. Well, bring the data points. You know something? Again, how many times do I got to say this? If you know something, say it. Charlie Kirk case. I know something. What do you know? You know nothing. You've said nothing. No one has fingered an additional suspect, provided an ounce of credible information. The Butler case. I know something. Really? You know something? Put up the Daily Caller headline again. You know something about the Butler case that all of us don't know, the gatekeepers are? You have some hidden knowledge, but you just won't disclose it, correct? Unless people pay $25 for your podcast. President Trump says he's very satisfied with the official narrative on Butler. That's because everybody's gatekeeping, folks. Gatekeeping. Keep in mind, like, the people you accuse of gatekeeping surrounding the president, by the way, their motive is what? Is there an official book out there, guys, I missed about another narrative on Butler where I sell the story, $7 million advance? Does it even make any sense? So there's a good account on Twitter, A.G. Hamilton out there, and dissected yesterday, like we did, the Kent Tucker Carlson interview, which I could totally went off the rails. Folks, love me or hate me, I was there. That's okay. You're allowed to have an opinion, of course. That's what freedom and liberty is all about. I'm not here to dictate to you your opinions, even about me. But the truth matters, man. I was there. He's not telling you the truth, Joe Kent. He says there were 4 easily debunked lies in just this 2-minute exchange in the interview. I'm just going to show you one of them and just show you how he's either Either just doesn't know or he's lying to your face as part of this op. Check this part out first. So here's the part of the interview you're talking about. This is just easily discredited. Stuff I don't even think we mentioned yesterday. Check this out.
Ali Laranjani, who was a negotiator, who was eager to get us a deal.
He would wait. Keep that screen. Keep that up. Can you? Joe Kent, Donnie Brown, Ali Laranjani was a negotiator, was eager to get us a deal. That's his quote, guys. You just heard it. This proves to you that this is an op. You think people want to be lied to? You have to be an idiot. Yes, please lie to me. Here's Ari Laranjani, translated from Arabic, on Twitter. We will not negotiate with the United States. And what would to the Bongino haters who watch my show? Hey, you're welcome. I don't think you're going to enjoy it. I've told you don't have to, it's an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. But if you insist on showing up and being annoyed by the truth every day, how do you refute that? So Ratcliffe's lying. Tulsi says, yes, I agree. Trump's being gay-kept. They're gatekeeping from him. And Laranjani's openly posting to the entire world, quote, we will not negotiate with the United States. Joe Kent, Ari Laranjani want to negotiate with the United States. He knows something nobody else knows? I'm just curious, like, did he, if he knew that, Joe, this is a question for you. Did you pass that information to the president that he wanted to negotiate? I'm curious. Because then you're gatekeeper, right? Those are the rules. Them's the rules. The doomers. Hey, doomer, am I wrong? Everybody's gatekeeping information from Trump. He's being misled. Like Worm King dude from Lord of the Rings. Worm King dude. Everybody's saying President Trump's not smart enough. But Joe has hidden knowledge. He has hidden knowledge that Laranjani, despite his public proclamations that he does not want to negotiate with the United States, Joe knew something. Did he tell the president? I'm just curious. Good point, Justin. Did he tell Laranjani? What's going on here? Are we missing something? This is incredible. I have this conversation with Paul this morning, man. I kid you not. I'm not messing with my liberals. You know, liberals, I was at a Starbucks and some crazy MAGA guy didn't make it up. I'm sitting there and I'm talking to her and I'm like, I just can't believe the times we're living in right now, where there is a small subset of people, small, but not, you think they're larger because of the op, but a small subset of people out there who insist on being lied to, and not only lied to, but they openly applaud the liars. Laranjani wants to negotiate. He actually said he doesn't want to negotiate. How about here's another one that came up during the interview. The Israelis today blow up the Qatar natural gas feed, which feeds the world. The Israelis blew that up? Actually, it was the Iranians. I don't understand, man. And then, what is that? What else does Joe Kent say in the interview? If you want to be lied to again, this is not the show. You can stay, but this isn't the show. Joe Kent, hey, man, the Iranians, they weren't going to build a bomb. There's a fatwa against it, which is bullshit. Everybody knows that's bullshit. Everyone in the space knows that's a total myth. That is a complete fabrication. It is an Iranian propaganda piece that mouthpieces for the Iranians put out there. There was a fatwa against it. Really? Why are they still trying to develop it with 440 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium? Like, does that even make sense? So there was a fatwa against developing a nuclear bomb, just to be clear, Joe Kent, correct? Here is the deputy speaker of the Iranian parliament. Hat tip, who did this? Andrew, the voiceover, because okay, Josh, because I want you to understand, okay? You're going to hear Josh's voice over here. It's only about 30 seconds. Here's the deputy speaker of the Iranian parliament telling you, maybe Joe Kent should have passed this to the president if he has other information. Yes, we were looking to build a bomb. In their own words. Check this out.
When we first entered nuclear activities, our real goal was to build a bomb. No point denying it. Yes, 100%. The whole system, everyone who started this. The real goal was to build a bomb. We had started, and we wanted to go all the way. If we can keep it a secret and test the bomb, it would be over, just like Pakistan. Once we began, we had to finish it. No one pays attention to what I say. Foreigners will eventually find out anyway.
Hey, you see now? The gatekeeper problem, number one, that's made up. It's a bullshit op narrative. Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Worm King guy, number two. I have this pool of hidden knowledge I can't share with you. I haven't shared with the president or anyone else. But if you give us $25, you can watch my podcast. And I still won't tell you what the hidden knowledge is, right? I won't tell you. But I'll tell you there's a data point out there. I just won't tell you what it is. Folks, if you haven't seen this tweet, I talked about it in the beginning of the show. I'm going to put it up there now. Put up that honest reporting. It's a thread. I don't know. It's about 6 or 7 tweets. I'll get to a few of them. Put up the first one. If you have not seen this, please go. It's at honest reporting. Common spelling for both. No underscores, nothing. At honest reporting. This thing went viral yesterday. You want to see how the op works? You think Dan Bongino is making this up? I told you, I've been in this game a long time. I'm not stupid. I've seen these things before. The left does it all the time. Here's tweet number one. So Kent goes on Carlson within minutes, the exact same clip and same caption and same outrage floods the internet. Wow, how'd that happen? It says not organic. It's not a coincidence. HonestReporting.ai Labs tracked it in real time. They know what we found will shock you. They go on. Here was the trigger quote in Kent's interview. The Israelis drove the decision to go to war with Iran. That was clipped and posted across hundreds of accounts almost simultaneously. Oh, keep it up, Justin. They had the magic word in there, Israelis, because I told you, whether you're interested in our relationship with Israel or not, they are going to make it your issue, no matter what. It says, not minutes after it trended during the broadcast, real breaking news takes time to spread. This one had a running start because it's an op. Next one. The narrative quickly evolved, escalating beyond what Kent actually said. Quote, Israel forced the U.S. into war. That was Kent's primary argument. Israel killed Charlie Kirk. That was Jackson Hinkle and that Am Media manufactured that. Israel controls America. A lazy, repackaged anti-Semitic trope. It's called narrative laundering. That's how the narrative starts to evolve. You see how they did it here through all these channels, RT and others. A lot of foreign channels got into this game because they want to split the country apart. And was this the last one here? Who amplified it? Russian state TV, Iranian state media, a Hamas-aligned Quds news network, TRT, a Turkish state broadcaster, Sputnik, Brazil, Hinkle, Owens, MTG, Blumenthal, Russia, Iran, Hamas, and alt-right dissidents. Folks, these are not our friends. They should be treated no differently than the left. You think this was all organic yesterday? Here's how quickly it happened. I have been warning you about this stuff forever, man. It is an op, and now this honest reporting account shows you exactly how the whole thing works. There's a reason you're out in the real world and you don't hear any of this stuff from real people. Folks, we're going to have to, walk and juggle at the same time. We have to. We are going to have to continue to fight the collectivist anti-liberty left that's going to get back in power someday, sadly, and is going to do the same thing they do if we don't do our best over the next 3 and hopefully 7 years to get these people out of government. When the left gets back in, they're just going to fire anyone anyway, but it's going to take a while. Process is punishment for them too. We're going to have to fight this fight internally and externally. I see this tweet all the time from the same guy. I can't believe there's no unity. We didn't ask for this fight. I'll show you what I mean with this poll coming up in a second. I'm going to take a quick break. How it's all fake. Trust me, man, it's all fake. If there was something like catastrophic and the movement was completely fracturing right now, I tell you, people think it's fracturing. That's turning. Fear of death is worse than death itself. Quick break, and I'll get right back. I'm going to show you a piece of information because receipts matter, that I'm right and they're wrong. Hey, if you drive long enough, there's always that moment, that one repair bill that hits you out of nowhere. Maybe it's a weird noise, a dashboard light, you all pretend isn't there. I do it too. But it always seems to show up at the worst possible time. Every time it happens, I'm reminded why I don't mess around when it comes to protecting my car anymore. You don't need expensive repairs. That's where CarShield comes in. They just help make your life easier. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, and rental car options, all at no additional cost. And you can take your car to an ASE certified mechanic and repair shops all over the country, so you're never stuck scrambling to find a place you trust. Their contracts have low deductibles. The plans are affordable and month to month, and CarShield's been doing this for over 20 years. Make a decision your wallet will love with CarShield. Do it today. CarShield's offering our listeners 20% off. Big savings, 20% off with the code Bongino, Bongino, at carshield.com. Get rid of those expensive car repairs. Protect yourself against it. Visit carshield.com to lock in your coverage today and protect yourself from expensive car repairs. Again, go to carshield.com. Use code Bongino for 20% off. Thank you, CarShield. And our next sponsor today is Patriot Mobile. Company's been with me a long time. They've been protecting our freedoms for a long time. This is a company that openly advertises its love for the Constitution, for this country's faith. Just a great company to be a part of. America's about to celebrate its 250th. The direction of the country is being decided right now for our culture and our economy, and who we choose to support matters more than ever with our own wallets. Support companies like Patriot Mobile. A lot of these wireless companies don't care who you are, what you believe. They just want your money. Patriot Mobile is different. For more than 12 years, they've stood with Americans who defend the Constitution, and they support the Christian conservative movement when others stayed silent. And here's the deal. You don't have to give up quality or service when you switch to Patriot Mobile. They deliver premium priority access on all three major U.S. networks, so you get the same or better coverage than you have today. They saved me a couple weeks ago. Patriot Mobile. Think switching's a hassle? It isn't. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team can activate you in minutes. Still paying off a device? Patriot Mobile even offers a contract buyout. This is a defining year. We got to work together to save our country. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Dan for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. Okay. We're going to have to clean up our movement and fight the left at the same time. It's not optional. How many times I have to use this analogy over the years when it comes to this kind of stuff? You're living in a boxing match right now, a political boxing match. It's not a golf game, okay? A golf game, you quit, you leave, nobody cares. The guy who runs the golf course, the greenskeeper, everyone else, they still get paid. The team behind you plays through. They're glad you're not. Nobody cares if you finish the golf game or not. Some people do back nine or whatever it is. I'm not a golfer. Nobody cares. You can quit. It only affects you. This is a boxing match. It is totally different. You quit. There's no referee in a cage. The other guy is still kicking your ass. We did not ask for this fight. Calvin Silverbow is not a live broadcast, Savvy? What does he mean? What's pre-recorded? Well, if we're not live, how did we just read his tweet? Calvin Silver, he's probably from the Doomer class. It's got to be a Doomer guy. They love telling you bullshit. It's not live. We just read your live tweet. It's amazing how I did that. I mean, of course the show is live. Again, the bullshit class. They always did the bots probably. You probably saw this poll, but I'm going to hit it from a different perspective here because it's really easy to explain. Here's a CNN pollster acknowledging everything you've been told about the schism in MAGA is absolute bullshit. I want to hit it from a different angle, though. The Doomers got so upset about this poll. Again, these people trying to pretend they're us, they're infighting. Not infighting, it's outfighting. They actually put out, instead of just acknowledging they're wrong, because they can never do that. Joe Kent probably won't either. Even though he's been proved, I just showed you he's lying to you, that he's made this stuff up. Even after this CNN poll, I'm going to play in a second, came out. You probably saw it on TV. You didn't hear about what happened behind the scenes. The Doomers are putting out another counter message. Everything that benefits the president, they have a counter message. Everything. 0 illegal migrants at the border. What do you mean 0? What do you mean 0? 0? It should have been less than 0. You realize this is the Robert Downey Jr. movie, right? Like, that's not possible. They always have a counter message. The counter message to this MAGA poll was, you asked people after the MAGA schism. In other words, we really won and MAGA broke, and you just asked the new bad MAGA, whatever. That's totally not true. The poll was conducted before that. Completely untrue. Check this out.
Sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you, and this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA in the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Go look online if you think I'm making this up. Again, these people haven't earned a place on the show, so I'm not going to give them even a little bit of PR or media exposure. You do it yourself. Go on Twitter and look. All of the doomer, grifter, gatekeeper, I have hidden knowledge bullshitters out there, every single one of them, the minute that poll came out, said, no, that's an inaccurate poll. That's after we won and split the MAGA movement. You just made that up. Every single time they have a counter message, every freaking time. And by the way, there's always two sets of rules for them too. Here's Caroline Leavitt yesterday. You know what? Wait, put that the Drunk Republican tweet. I like this account. Drunk Republican, hilarious account. I follow this. He put out something great this morning too. I don't know if he or she would have, but it's a great account. Check it out. Trump is the sanest, most calculating politician of my lifetime, but so much of his political leverage is derived from the idea that he might be a little crazy, which I'm sure is on purpose. That is correct. The Republican was not drunk when he put that out there. That is totally accurate. How many times, guys, we bring up this Donald Trump crazy man theory? He makes his counterparty to a negotiation believe he's a little bit nuts so that they can't do SWOT analysis on him. Like take advantage of an opportunity by leveraging a strength, SWOT analysis from business school. They can't do it because they can never predict what his strength and weakness is because he just projects this image of being uncalculating that works. That's actually the most calculating thing he does. Yeah, like the Japanese prime minister, like totally keeps him off guard. Like she didn't know what to do with that thing. You see the look on her face? Here was Caroline Leavitt yesterday. Folks, there's going to be one set of rules going forward. Donald Trump gives you a job, okay? Gives you a job, gives you the pleasure of serving the people, okay? No one goes there for the money. You only go there for the experience of having served the American people. You go there, and if you're elite, and I'm not referencing anyone specifically, I just want to be clear. But Caroline Leavitt in this really short clip is very clear, and she speaks for the president. He's going to give you a job. He doesn't care how many Twitter followers you came in there with, whatever you may have done before. You're going to go there, raise your right hand to serve the people, and then screw the people by leaking information. He doesn't care who you are. They're going to go after you. Check this out.
Anyone who has been suspected of leaking or is proven to be a leaker will not be welcome in this administration. I know that for a fact because I've heard the president say it myself. There are investigations underway into leakers in this administration, and people will be held accountable for that. It's unacceptable and it cannot be tolerated.
The craziest part about this with the doomers is the same BS doomers who tell you nothing is happening. We just opened up the show showing you about 130 subpoenas that have made their way out there in this grand conspiracy. I thought that wasn't happening either. Now, you guys in the audience find this ironic? Now they've got their new hero, Joe Ken, who lied to them yesterday. I showed it. It's a fact. I was there. He lied. Now they're like, we don't want anything to happen to him. I don't know what's going to happen to him or not. I have not seen that evidence. I've been gone for a couple months. I'm just telling you what I've seen in open source reporting. But now it's weird. You were complaining about nothing's happening. Now you want nothing to happen. I mean, absolutely zero freaking principles at all. And then they made the argument yesterday, too, about the ballistic missile threat from Iran. Like, oh, this is no big deal. The ballistic missile threat. This was not an imminent threat. I don't know what freaking intel you were reading. I'm just going to play what Ratcliffe said. Here's John Ratcliffe on the ballistic missile threat again. Oh, no, he's a gatekeeper with hidden knowledge. I know. He's lying to the president. Really? Amazing. Everybody's lying to the president but you, and you don't even speak to the president. Check this out.
I want to ask you, Director Ratcliffe, yesterday, the head of the National Counterterrorism Center resigned, saying that Iran did not represent an imminent threat to the United States. Is there anything to indicate that Iran had ceased in its nuclear ambitions or in its desire to continue to build ballistic missiles capable of threatening American troops and allies in the Middle East?
Senator, no. In fact, the intelligence reflects the contrary.
So you disagree with Mr. Kent?
I do.
I would think any fair-minded assessment of the situation, even based on open sources, would reflect the danger the regime poses to the United States. Isn't it true they've basically been at war with the West since 1979 during the Iranian Revolution and have American blood on their hands?
That's absolutely correct. I think Iran has been a constant threat to the United States for an extended period of time and posed an immediate threat at this time.
Okay, so here's a dude, hold on, in the chat. I'm trying to stay close to the mic. Putin won, which probably says everything you need to know. But I'm going to read it anyway. CIA always tells the truth, right, Dan? I actually wrote, 4 books on the CIA lying to America about the Donald Trump case. That was Ratcliffe at the CIA. That was not the CIA talking. It was Ratcliffe as the director of the CIA, but it was a person. Why am I saying that? Here's the Putin ones. Yeah. You see how this works? This is when you're immune to facts. All you do is get polluted with information and you never actually get to a point. You leave out the obvious point here. Nobody on this show is ever going to tell you the CIA always tells the truth. The CIA under Biden and Obama fabricated and under John Brennan, I mean, you have Arctic frost, crossfire hurricane, all of this stuff. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You voted Donald Trump in a lot. I don't know who Putin won voted for at all. He appoints these people. I'm so glad that happened. Thank you for putting it up there. This is gatekeeper theory again. Donald Trump appoints Ratcliffe, who goes and cleans up the CIA. And the doomers who want you to believe Donald Trump is stupid worm guy from Lord of the Rings are like, no, he's being lied to by Ratcliffe. The CIA is intelligent. It's not. It's Ratcliffe talking. So he's lying? And yes, he's lying, and I'm lying too. And so is, what was that? Tulsi was up there, and then Cash. Everybody's just lying. Do you see the scam?
It's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
The data point. No one actually tells you what the freaking data point is. If you know something, say it. Go tweet to Joe Kent right now and tell him, what's the data point? You know something? How about you just put it out there? I thought this was some big, noble resignation. Put it out there. You know something? Say it. Let the public know there's a big conspiracy. Hey, I want to go to the Nothing's Happening segment. Keep this Kathy Hochul one, too, because I want to get to this, too. You want to keep splitting up or trying to split up our movement? You're not. We're at 100% unity on this issue. 100%. 100%. You ask a bunch of kids who wants jelly donuts. You're always going to get one who says, I've got a gluten thing. There's only going to be one kid. There's always. You get 100% MAGA alignment. These people are getting their asses kicked. Sorry. True. It's a good point. So again, the Trump administration, worm king guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's being lied to by everyone. I'm going to come in and save it. Look at me. I got the hidden knowledge. It's all in the bucket. They are the ones, if you go back and look, putting out the bullshit black pillar narrative that nothing happened in the last year. Okay. This is just stuff that happened in the last couple days up on the Hill that finally came out and was public. Here was Cash up on the Hill, obviously the FBI director, telling you again about the nothing that happened that the doomers won't tell you happened. This is important stuff. This is your government. I really believe this is what you voted for, right? An FBI that goes out there and actually locks up bad guys, investigates the grand conspiracy, locks up Antifa. This is what we voted for, correct? Am I wrong? Here's Cash yesterday with the litany of other things that didn't happen. Check this out.
Under the Trump administration, this FBI has literally had a historic year. We have a 112% increase in violent offenders arrested last year alone, a 20% decrease in homicides, 20% decrease in robberies. We have disrupted 1,800 criminal gangs. That's a 210% increase. We've seized enough fentanyl to kill 178 million Americans. That's a 31% increase. We have gone after the most vulnerable in our society, protecting children. A 490% increase in arrest on those that prey on our children online. We have located, found, and identified 6,200 missing kids. That's a 30% increase. We have dismantled and taken down 1,700 child predators. That's a 17% increase. And those that wish to traffic our young American citizens and women, 300 human traffickers have been arrested. That's a 15% increase. And seven of the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world have been apprehended in the last 13 months. To put that into perspective, there was 4 in the prior 4 years. So this FBI under President Trump is fully stocked to get after every single fight we have, and these are just some of the
Again, those are just like numbers and facts, and they're data points, except those are actual data points. Notice how Joe talks about data points but never produces the data or the point?
It's a data point.
Yeah, it is. Actually, ours is a data point. That's actual data. It was Cash yesterday as a quick one on fentanyl. Like fentanyl, kind of important, right? You take a small dose of it, your kid dies and stuff. That's really bad. We have a rule, don't get dead. Fentanyl's a good way to get dead. You get a kid, he buys on whatever, some stupid website, drugaddicts.com or whatever, goes and buys, look at me, I need a Xanax or a Percocet, and it's fentanyl, and he's dead. So I don't know about you, but we kind of thought that was important. So here's another thing that happened that people tell you wouldn't happen, that actually happened, that'll then move on to the next thing they say didn't happen. We realized that working with local cops, any local cops in the chat, local police officers, I assume we have a lot of them. Say your name. Put a big Y in there because you deserve my just utmost, complete, heartfelt, sincere gratitude. Thank you, guys and ladies out there. Thank you for doing that job. When we went in the FBI, there were some people, not all, that had kind of a little bit of, hey, we're FBI attitude, whatever. I said, we're not doing that anymore. You know who the best people are for local knowledge of the criminal environment? The cops and the detectives. They are the ones. They know everything about that neighborhood. We are going to work in a task force model, and this is how we're going to roll from this point on. We are there to serve local police departments. And what happened? When we started cracking down through summer heat and all of these other violent crime initiatives on these TFOs and at these FTOs, foreign terror organizations that were designated as narco groups, we brought in, you're going to hear Cash refer to TFOs, task force officers. Those are local police officers. We brought them in and we sped up the process to get them in quick. It used to be a ridiculous big secondary background check for guys who were already cops. It was so stupid. We said, we're not doing that anymore. And what happened? Fentanyl deaths. That's another thing that didn't happen. That happened. Check this out.
Counter-narcotic mission can't be complete without state and local law enforcement. So we are embedding more task force officers across the country on the specific counter-narcotics mission. We've also stood up with our interagency partners in Tucson, Arizona, the Southern Border Intelligence Center, specifically on the counter-narcotic mission so that we can utilize the Department of War and interagency capabilities on the law enforcement front. That's why we seized enough fentanyl in 2025 to kill 178 million Americans. That's a 31% increase year over year. And here's a statistic that everybody should be proud of. Opioid overdose deaths from last year dropped 20 points. 20 points from across the country. And in Oklahoma specifically, Senator, we seized enough kilograms of cocaine to include a 232% increase in the state of Oklahoma alone, and enough fentanyl to kill 500,000 Oklahomans. We can't do that unless we have great police partnerships, which has been a priority of mine, which is why I've embedded police officers here at headquarters from around the country to make sure we have that connectivity. And I've shortened the task force officer onboarding pipeline from 1 to 2 years to 90 days.
That's another thing, guys, that didn't happen, I guess. I don't know. See, there's a data point there about overdose deaths dropping because we don't want people to get dead. That's an actual data point. And we actually told you what the data was and made the point. Unlike saying, hey, I think this guy may have killed Joey Johnson out there, and I have a data point on it, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's in this little black box. No black boxes. There's your numbers right there. I know those police officers. I used to sit down with them bi-weekly and meet with them at headquarters. And you know what I'd say? What can we do better for you? I think they were stunned to hear that. That produced another data point. I mean, an actual data point. My good friend Clay Travis hosts a great show with Buck Sexton on radio. Put this out the other day. Not my article. This is just a fact. It's an actual data point. He notes we hit a 125-year low for murders in the United States last year. Data from before 1900 isn't great, so it's possible we hit the lowest murder rate in U.S. history last year. Check out the graphic. This great news often gets limited attention. Thank you, President Trump. Gee, I wonder why that gets limited attention from the doomers. Maybe, Justin, maybe they have an agenda and it's all an op? Here's the article in the Wall Street Journal. It was probably the lowest murder rate ever in U.S. history. It was just luck, folks. It just happened because they said it didn't happen. They could have done it better. They could have done it better. And I love their argument. Oh, the murder rate was dropping anyway when Joe Biden was up. Yes, that makes the case even more compelling. That the low-hanging fruit was already gone and we still dropped it to the lowest probably ever in U.S. history? Crazy. Here's another pun intended, like killer clip yesterday. Here's Cash up there yesterday. I didn't even know this because I've been gone for the last couple months. I didn't know this. It just came in. Apparently, I think I played this yesterday, but I'm playing. Here's Cash just quickly on how Mardi Gras in New Orleans, it's the first time they didn't have a single murder during Mardi Gras. I'm probably sure it was just an accident too, just blind luck, right? Check this out.
59 HSTFs, which are co-led by the FBI and DHS. And what that allows us to do is things like we did down in New Orleans just over the holiday period where we surged for a 6-week period of time and where we dropped the murder rate by double-digit points. And also was the first time that Mardi Gras in its entire history had not one homicide. So when you bring the powers of the Homeland Security folks, DHS, and the FBI together, this is the purpose of it, to get after not just the terrorism threat, but the violence and the criminal activity in our cities. And that's why we're in 59 cities across the country. And it's working in places like Memphis and every other city we have it.
I don't even want it. Well, listen, you posted it in the chat, so I hope you're okay. But Steve9210 said, yes, and my son died from a fentanyl overdose. Steve, I don't know what to say. No, I mean it. Like, I don't know what to say. I know how you feel. I don't want to know how that feels. But I just want to tell you, it was people like yourself, although we just met through the chat, that I went in to serve. It was the only reason I was there, was people like yourself, to try to make things a little better, maybe save a couple additional lives. We saved a lot more than a couple. I am unbelievably sorry that you lost your son. But while everyone else was running around, punching on their keyboard, we were actually trying to save people's lives. I don't know, that hit me hard because sometimes when you're talking behind a microphone, sometimes, there's just a camera and it's a couple people in the room. You forget you're actually talking to, 64,000 people right now and probably close to 1 million that'll watch it later. And there are real people on the other side affected by this stuff. And that's what always keeps me going. It does. That's why, I just wake up every day, and even though sometimes it's a shit day and I just don't feel great, I know it's my responsibility to help give heroes like yourself who've been through this the information you need to go about your lives and make important decisions to redirect the most powerful country in the history of the world. We're the stewards of it. Cash was talking about those HSTFs. You may not have even heard about this because, again, the doomers told you nothing happened. Now, I can't take credit for this one, nor would I want to. This was absolutely a team effort. But Donald Trump wanted a task force model for law enforcement in the United States, similar to like the JTTF operates in terrorism, but we could do that on crime because we should be working with local cops. So they started the first ever, what Cash referred to there, as you heard him say, HSTF, the Homeland Security Task Force. That wasn't my idea. That was him and Stephen Miller. And we worked with Christie's team at the time, Rodney Scott and others, and we formed and launched within, I think, 3 months, this massive Homeland Security Task Force model so we could work together better with local police and coordinate rather than being all over the place. And look what happened. Again, lowest murder rate, fentanyl overdoses are down, no illegals crossing the border. What team do you want to be on? The doomer team or the team that's actually doing shit? I'm on the outside now. Again, I can only flip the calendar. I had some, you get the point. But I want to be on this team. This is the team I want to be on moving forward. You saw the case up in New York with the guy who threw the TATP bombs. Well, some new video emerged. You may have seen it the other day. Now, I want you to keep in mind, there are people in this video. Take this one full screen so they can see the whole thing, and I want you to listen to the sound. Listen in the background. Keep it playing for a second. There are people saying bomb. And notice everyone's running away from the guy but the cops. And the one guy tackles him, and it looks like the guy nearly breaks his leg. What team do you want to be on, them or the lunatic team? This is insane. People are screaming bomb. The cops are like, yeah, bomb. That means I could explode. And what are they doing? They're running towards a guy. So to all you police officers in the chat, man, that's for you, brothers and sisters. That's what they're made. They don't even think about it. Folks, you don't even think about it. You just do it. The first foot pursuit I ever got, and we heard a gunshot, and I wrote about it in one of the books. You just run towards the guy because that's what they train you to do. That's what they sign up for this every day. You know, every time I give a speech, I have one this weekend, my first and probably last for the year. But every time I give a speech and I talk to police officers, I was out once in, Alamogordo, New Mexico, a beautiful little place. Anyone ever been there? I gave a speech at a police group years ago. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And it was police officers, all police officers, right? And one of the spouses gets up at this event. The spouses of the police officer, not a police officer herself, and says, did you guys ever hear this before? Says, you know what the greatest sound in the world is for a spouse of a police officer? And I'm sitting there because I had been one myself. I'm like, what is it? And she's like, the sound of Velcro at night. Who knows what that means in the chat? I promise you the cops do. The body armor has really thick, long Velcro. So when you take the bulletproof vest, as you call it, really body armor, it's not bulletproof. But when you take it off, you take off your shirt first, and then this lies over your undershirt, unless you're going to get the whole carrier dirty all the time. That sound. Why is that the greatest sound in the world? Because it's probably woken up 100 different spouses on, maybe 1,000 of police officers, because it's so freaking loud. But if it's loud and it wakes you up, why is it the greatest sound on earth? It's the greatest sound on earth because your husband or wife is home alive. Those are our police officers out there. Those are our guys. I want to take a quick break, and I want to show you the team. I'm part of that team. I'm going to show you the team I am not a part of coming up in just a minute. This is the lunatic team, and I want no piece of this. You got to see this guest on Piers making the most ridiculous, this is the correlation bullshit I told you about. You'll see what I mean coming up in a second. Hey, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, maybe more than ever before. Global conflicts are escalating. Headlines are changing by the hour. No one knows what's coming next. In times like these, folks realize just how important it is to be prepared. If there's a crisis, there's an emergency, there's a storm, some kind of hostilities were to break out, civil unrest, the last thing you need to be doing is panicking, scrambling for basic necessities, food and water. You don't want your kids going, Dad, where's the food? You can take care of that now and prepare today. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They've been a friend of this show for a long time. You know, I use the product myself. Just in the closet yesterday, saw a bunch of Patriot Supply food in there. They're a real American company you can trust. I trust them. I use them. They've helped me and millions of other Americans build real self-reliance with emergency food supplies, water filtration, solar power, and all the survival gear you need. So go today to preparewithdan.com. Go now and you'll find a special offer for the Bongino Army to help you get ready for whatever comes your way. If you've ever thought about getting prepared, now is the time. Go to preparewithdan.com. Check out this special offer right now. That's preparewithdan.com, preparewithdan.com. Thank you, My Patriot Supply. This is definitely the team I am not on. Dan is not on this team. Here is Piers Morgan and one of his lunatic guests who must have missed every single press conference Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have conducted where they've laid out what the priorities of this attack on Iran are. Taking out ballistic missiles, reducing their proxy terror influence. They've already brought this up. They've mentioned this 1,000 times. Here's Piers pretending he's never heard it. And here's this lunatic guest going, gee, why? I don't understand. The Israelis have a nuclear weapon. Why do we treat them any differently? You're like, wait, what? Are you serious? Why, did you eat magic mushrooms before you came on here? Check this out.
Have been unable to clearly articulate what the aim of this war is. And at the same time, you've got Marco Rubio saying publicly that the Americans went in preemptively because they knew Israel was going to attack because Israel had told them, and that therefore the Iranians would respond against American interests, therefore they had to get in first. None of that seems a good enough reason to launch the biggest, Middle Eastern war in my lifetime.
Oh, yes, I mean, and I remember like your position as an anti-war activist against the Iraq war, and you can see the same lies are being, being popped up again. I mean, is it because of the nuclear weapon? Didn't we destroy it like last year? And if it's for the nuclear weapons, why aren't we not attacking Israel, who have like unlimited, like undisclosed supply?
They never admit it. Actually, for reasons which I find baffling. They never admit that.
I have seen your interview with Naftali Bennett.
Yeah.
You have asked him 20 different ways.
Yeah.
20 different ways. Do you have the nukes? Do you have nukes? Yes, we have them, but we will not introduce them. If we have them, we will not do it first. We'll not be the first. It is not us. We're defending ourselves. We won't use them. And this we have to. Sharmata, he's such like a political whore, you know?
Why do we treat the Israelis different than we treat the Iranians? Gee, I don't know. You've got the Mullah theocracy declaring death to America and engaging in proxy terror group attacks all over the world for decades, killing Americans by the thousands. I don't know, man. I don't know, Piers. Why don't we treat them different? That may be so just to be clear, every country in the world that is alleged to have nuclear weapons, we're supposed to treat them all differently, even if the threat level from that country is like a 1 and the other country's threat level is 100, we should just treat them the same. Folks, I do not want to be part of the idiocracy, and you shouldn't be either. I'm just trying to show you what the other team is doing. Now, there are warnings going out right now. There's a Democrat pollster out there, Mark Penn. You've probably seen him on Fox. He put out this tweet the other day at One Kind of Nuclear. He is warning his own Democrat Party right now that, guys, if this Iranian what we're doing over in Iran right now and taking out the leadership, taking out the ballistic missile supplies and trying to get back some sense of like control over the region when it comes to oil supplies and the Gulf. If this turns out well, you're going to look like a bunch of tools. Check out this tweet. It's long. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he says, making the impossible possible. After reading the analysis that the regime change in Iran was impossible, it seems as though the impossible is looking more and more possible. He goes on and on how they're basically running out of people to replace at the top of the theocracy at this point. And these things that can happen quick. He basically says at the end, hey, if this thing, works out, like, you really sure you want to be on the other side of this thing? Like, he notes all the support from Dems for not taking out Iran remains puzzling, given the regime was amassing thousands of ballistic missiles on top of its own nuclear program and machine gunned its own people by the bushel to put down a protest. You really want to be out there on Team Iran or one of these Piers guests asking, how do we treat them and the Israelis any different? Gee, I don't know. One of them's openly threatening to kill us if they acquire a nuclear weapon and one isn't. It's kind of basic to me. You don't have to be a spreadsheets guy to figure that out. So their talking point on this, because they don't want to seem like I'm talking about the liberals and the liberal media, that they're part of the pro-Mullah theocracy death to America class. Their talking point on this is, well, listen, you're going to have to give us a plan because there's no plan. You saw that. Piers just hinted at. He's already told you the plan. He's told you the plan multiple times. take out their drone capacities, ballistic missile capacities. He's already said this. Disrupt terror proxies. He said it. You just didn't listen. Here's Hegseth on here's their new talking point. The Dan Bongino Show puts on the facts armor where I'm going to allow you the armor to go into the rhetorical battles out there in the field. You're going to hear this talking point. Well, okay, there may have been a plan, but there was definitely no plan for the Straits of Hormuz either. Really? There wasn't? I put out a tweet on that. Are you sure? Don't confuse a plan for a predicted outcome. In other words, you can't predict every outcome. So what a plan is, it's like going into a football game. You want to script out the first 10 plays. You may have to change the plan if your running back gets hurt. It doesn't mean you didn't have a plan. It just means in the list of possible outcomes, some things happen and you have to lift and shift. The media people are acting stupid. They're trying to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. You guys had no plan. Here's Pete Hegseth telling you there was a plan, which is obvious. Check this out.
We did not plan for this.
We planned for it. We recognize it because ultimately we want to do it sequentially in a way that makes the most sense for what we want to achieve and ensure that we're sending the right signals to the world when we do so. So when Chris Wright speaks or we speak, it's based on a full assessment of what we're up against, what we want to say to the world, how that we want them to see and understand the conflict. It's like this whole idea of the war widening. That's what the press wants to make it look like it's widening and chaos is ensuing. No, we're actually closing in on grabbing hold of and controlling what objectives we want to achieve and how we want to achieve them. It's called shaping operations and setting the conditions. But when you shape the environment, you don't always tell. Foolish political leaders and foolish military leaders of the past will hang an exact deadline on it. Or here's exactly when we'll do what we're going to do. Or here's how long it's going to take us. And then if you meet that, maybe you meet it. But if you don't, you fail. And if you're far beyond, we know exactly what we're shaping and why. We're sending those signals working across the interagency. The Strait of Hormuz is something we've paid attention to from the beginning. And the American people can rest assured we will ensure that our interests are advanced, no doubt.
Folks, honestly, in the chat, not the crazy people, but amongst the same people, do you really believe the DOW, Department of War, FBI, CIA, DIA, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, the representatives had never thought what would happen in the Straits of Hormuz if hostilities were to break out? Pete just told you there was a plan. That doesn't mean the first 10 plays are going to go according to plan. You lift and shift, and you change the plan based on predictions you made in advance of what would happen. It's a big if-then equation. If this happens, then we do that. Now, for all the people who believe Donald Trump is Worm King guy, again, who is just a pizza gatekeeper. They're all game. Everybody's keeping information from him. But Joe Kent knows he's got hidden knowledge. For everyone who believes that Donald Trump is just this stupid guy being led around like a dog, which is the most obscenely stupid thing I think I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of stupid stuff. So all of a sudden, Iran starts threatening the Strait again, which was planned for. Who really was ahead of this story? You and the media? Like, oh, we knew something was going to happen. Donald Trump didn't. Really? You sure about that? So if the Strait were to shut down altogether, and we're virtually there at this point now, is it the United States, for those in the chat, that's impacted the most? We're impacted, but are we impacted the most? Well, because we always produce receipts on the show. Put up that tweet about the fractured oil market. Who really had a plan? Check this out. Zero hedge. So the oil market is fragmented. Oil's now trading for $150 a barrel in Asia, where demand destruction has started. China and India are most pressured. Really? Meanwhile, that oil is at $100 in the U.S. Why is that? Maybe because we are a net exporter. And a lot, look at that, crude oil prices elsewhere in the world and crude oil prices here in the United States. There's been a divergence. And it seems China is being impacted pretty deeply. And a lot of these, NATO so-called allies that really haven't been acting like allies, looks like they're the ones that have been deeply impacted. Put up that America First tweet as well. Look at where the oil and natural gas is produced. Oh, look at that. They note in the America First Policy Institute at A1 Policy on X, don't be a panican. The U.S. now produces as much natural gas as Russia, Iran, and China combined. It's almost like President Trump knew that, guys. Crazy, right? And how the strait was going to impact others more than it would impact us. USA now produces more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. So to all our NATO allies and these countries around the world that we've helped out forever, we've been the bedrock of NATO. We've been the NATO lodestar, the NATO financial bedrock, military power bedrock. Now Donald Trump needs you. We have a country threatening to basically nuke the world, that we've had to clean up this mess. We're close to getting it done, and we need a little help in the strait. You don't want to help? Watch your oil market go crazy. We may have some bumps here, but it's not going to be like the bumpy road you're dealing with. Who's really got a plan and who really doesn't? You think this is an accident? You think the president's stupid? You think he didn't realize that, yeah, there was going to be a bump here, was willing to take that chance because he understood the threat and he was tired of being held hostage over there with this nuclear threat and this economic threat at the strait? You don't want to help us out? Now do you see why this True Social post makes a little bit more sense by Donald Trump? I thought he had no plan, guys. He had no plan. Worm King guy. Donald Trump. I wonder what would happen if we finished off what's left of the Iranian terror state and let the countries that use it, we don't, be responsible for the so-called strait. That would get some of our non-responsive allies in gear and fast. Almost like Donald Trump had a plan, guys. Develop our domestic oil and natural gas so we're not being held hostage to OPEC and Middle Eastern oil barons, especially a terror state like Iran wanted to build a nuclear weapon to kill us for death to America. And you know what? They don't want to help us with the strait. Hey, what if we just get out? You guys handle the strait. Yeah, we'll have probably a temporary bump in oil and gas prices, but we have enough of a supply. We can figure that out. They can't. You don't want to help with the strait? Here, you figure it out. By the way, aren't you NATO allies? Listen, I appreciate everyone's contribution, especially after 9/11, and I don't mean to downplay that and never will. But if you're going to be allies, then be there when we need you and the world needs you. Because NATO does not survive without the United States, and that's a fact. All right, going in reverse now. I do want to get to this segment. This is important, too. This goes back to this theme of the show, too. What team do you want to be on? Because I don't want to be on this team of liberal crazies. Let's just clean up our own team first. We're going to have to walk and juggle chainsaws at the same time. We don't have a choice. Here is what you're fighting. And look at me. Shh. This is why we have to cut this rot out of our movement and do it quick. We don't have time to dick around, okay? These midterms are coming up. Midterms will be a disaster if we let these people constantly distract us and don't surgically remove this cancer from the movement. We are dealing with lunatics on the left that cannot wait to get back in power, to put you back in prison, to censor you, to censor your companies, to steal your money, hike your taxes, and I'm telling you, get bracelets on you. And I'm not talking about Tiffany. I'm talking about handcuffs. They want you to hurt. This DHS holding fund up, where they're holding all our funds up, where we cannot get our TSA agents out there paid to get the security flow in the airport working. There's like 3-4 hour lines. Here's a Democrat, Don Beyer from Virginia, that has a lot of government workers, by the way, that live there. This is an actual quote. In the meantime, we're making people hurt. So he knows it. He notices the long line. He notices the long lines. He knows people are, and they're still doing it. His party. They know they're making you hurt. If I were, God forbid, running for office again, would you ever say that publicly? Hey, I'm part of a party that's kind of making you hurt. This is what they're all about. And then when they accidentally slip and tell you the truth and acknowledge that they suck and make people hurt, that make them hurt so much that they move out of their liberal states. This one, the governor of New York, this freaking lunatic, Kathy Hochul, this crazy person who has ruined the awesome state I was born in, New York City in New York State. Here she is like, hey, man, we hiked taxes and all these rich people left. She's now begging them to come back. Folks, one, don't come to Florida if you're a rich liberal. It is closed. I'm going to show you why in a second. Justin pulled this. It's dangerous. It's just don't come down here, please. However, the people who have left and are here, you're already here. If you're Republicans, good to have you. You're Democrats, I encourage you to take Kathy's advice. If you're not and you're not crazy, then good, welcome. But here she is begging them to come back. Nobody's going back, Kathy. No one. Check this out.
I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right? Now, there are some patriotic millionaires who've stepped up. Okay, cut me the checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything. There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay. We saw that that's not the case. I mean, you know, Wall Street businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this. But we can fund what we want to fund with what we already are taking.
Folks, they know they're hurting you. She just said it again. The best part about this show is we don't have to fabricate quotes. We just play them talking. We're making people hurt. We're making people hurt so much they're moving to Florida. Folks, if you are a liberal lunatic, please don't come to Florida. It is very dangerous. Justin just pulled this video. Here's a guy fishing. Did you see this TikTok viral video? The guy fishing. You got to look lower left. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, you got to watch this video. Go to the end of the show.
Babe, come look.
Oh, look, fishing. Wow, look at that. Check that out. Wow, it looks like he's having a lot of fun. So his wife is filming, and she starts to pan the camera over. This is everywhere in Florida, guys. It's in puddles. So you don't want... Gator. What? Gators? There's a gator there? Oh, my gosh. Can you see it? Lower left corner? There's like a 30-foot, all right, exaggerating, gator in the water. As he's fishing, guys like, uh-oh, I'm getting out of here. Enough fishing for the day.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you said it. Look at the gator sitting right there. This is Florida, liberals. Don't come down here. Don't come down. Justin, they're everywhere, right? Puddles. Right outside the office, we had a wrangler. I had Crocodile Dundee in here the other day. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Justin said there's a really... a very sophisticated, scientifically modeled test to see if the water in Florida has gators in it. He says, look around, gently dip your fingers about a 1/4 inch into the water. You got to use these 3 fingers, correct? Use these 3 or else it's not going to work. You slowly, not quickly, like this, rub them together like you're doing it in slow-mo. And if you get the feeling of wet, there's gators in the water. It works every time. That's a test, right? I'm not kidding. The other joke is if there's water, there's gators. Then you get the point. Don't come down here. We don't want you. Yes, stay everywhere else but here. If you're a conservative, I don't care, rich or poor or whatever, you're welcome down. It's a great state. All right, folks, listen, I really appreciate you tuning in. If you missed yesterday's show, please go through it. It is a really, really important and significant show. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'll get to that in a second. Hold on, one more thing. But please watch yesterday's show. We cannot let liars infiltrate our movement with an agenda and fracture us from the inside. It's the only way we'll be broken. We can't have that. Justin is right. It is Friday. And I have not seen this yet, so I asked the guys to surprise me. What do we leave you? Anyone in the chat know? On Fridays, we leave you with, of course, a nice, pleasurable, meditative moment that's going to take down the blood pressure. It's like a beta blocker or something like that. So you can go into the weekend nice and calm. Producer Jim puts this together. It is our Democrat Zen moment of the week. Everyone get ready to be calm and relaxed and just feel lovely. Check this out.
Your Democrat Zen moment of the day. A peaceful moment to center your mind.
I wish Donald Trump would just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Hey, shut the fuck
This
up.
has been Democrat Zen.
Okay. I hope you all feel great. Again, it's like popping a beta blocker with like 33 ounces of water or something. Everything just gets nice and calm. I don't want to be on that team. I want to be on your team, the right team. Be sure to check out Haley coming up at noon, and then Vince every day at 8 a.m., rumble.com/Vince. Check them out. And do me a small favor. Please go to the App Store, download the free Rumble app, subscribe to the show. It's free. Click that follow button. You'll get a notification. We go live every single day at 10. We got some good interviews planned for you next week. Just do us a favor and give us a follow. We added something like 20,000 new followers since you've been back. Thanks to you. We really appreciate it. Rumble.com/Bongino. Download the Rumble app. Give us a follow. I'll see you back here on Monday.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Carania,
Host of Vince.
Host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report channel.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Noon weekdays. And if you miss it, no worries. The show will always be right here and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.